to tell you why I haven't tried to change the world either. So it started out, I was 9 years old, and I had this love for dogs, and I really, really wanted a dog. And my parents were like, nope, we're all about cats. I'm like, no, I want a dog. So I'm going to ride my bike around Herndon Elementary School, and it's raining out, I'm having fun, and then all of a sudden there's this wet dog just sitting there looking pathetic. He comes up to me, he's like a Labrador, long hair, and I'm like, ah, right? And I'm like, I'm bringing this puppy home, no collar. Got him home, dried him off. Mom, Dad, I got a dog down in the basement. Dad comes with me down in the basement, gets the dog, puts it in his station wagon, drives it back to Herndon Elementary with me and drops it off. He says, probably somebody's dog, and we are not having a dog in our house. So reliable, honest. So many people, right? So, grew up, turned 24, still young, and bought my first house. Right? Got tired of renting, paying the man. So, 24 years old, bought my first house, and you know what I needed? Fill that house space. Cat. That's right. A dog. Had a cat from college. It came with me, but I needed a dog, right? So, I go to get my first dog, right? And I start learning about something. I start learning about this abusive piece of society. So my first dog, it was my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife. This dog came from, it was stolen out of somebody's yard. All right, so my wife was still going to college. The dog, another student in her class says, I got a dog in my car. Does anybody want it? It was being abused by my neighbor. So the dog, as a puppy, was getting beaten into obedience by the neighbor. And so finally this girl, my wife's class, said, that's enough, I'm taking the dog. So she had it in her car. My wife's like, my boyfriend wants a dog. So there you got it. That was my first dog. This little puppy in the world, right? So I got introduced to an abusive environment that dogs. I didn't even really pay attention to this. My second dog, researching dogs. Well, this dog was saved from a dumpster. It was a puppy. The whole litter was put into a dumpster, and that is where this dog, my second dog, came from. So somebody had literally taken their basket full of pups and were throwing them in the trash to only be crushed by the dumpster guy, right? Garbage man. So I learned about this neglectful society that we live in, and I'm like, here's where our dogs coming from. This is awful, right? So we go get a third dog, right? Because why not? This poor dog, right, came from, you guys know where Martinsburg is? Martinsburg's over on the other side of two counties, basically 2 counties over, but it's on the West Virginia side, okay? So it's only about an hour and 15 minutes away, it's not far. So this dog got, it was taken out of a 93 dog bust by the Humane Society. So there were 93 dogs in this one house. The kicker was that this was a trailer home. You do the math. We can do that math, and it doesn't make sense. There was about 3 inches of feces throughout the place when they busted this place. That's the environment these people chose to live in, and that's the environment that my dog came out of. The dog was muddy, gross brown when we got her from the Humane Society. So they have had an influx of 93 dogs. They're looking for people to foster them. We foster this. So we take the dog in, clean it off, and she ends up being white. Bright white, like a shirt. And I'm like, oh, we thought you were brown. No. Yeah, she stunk. So you're seeing this environment. I'm seeing this environment for the first time. I didn't know it really existed. I grew up in like, animals are lovely around there. Everybody's happy. I got introduced to puppy mills, and it was awful. So our dog has these little tiny feet because she was in this little cage all growing up. She couldn't hear very well in terms of like signs like, hey. She didn't understand that because her whole life, nobody ever had communicated with her. All the dogs around her barking. She didn't have to do anything. She pooped where she was because that's how she grew up. She couldn't walk upstairs. We had to teach her all of this stuff. Dogs are fast learners. It didn't take long. It was just heartbreaking. So it opened my eyes to this story, right? And my wife was pushing this stuff. We fostered this last dog, and I'm like, we only need 2 dogs. Well, we called it a foster fail. That's what she gave it, because she looks up at me one day. I got home from school and she's looking at me. I guess we got a 3rd dog home here, right? Like, so we're not a foster is we're gonna get this to a lovely home when we can. We were keeping it. We adopted it. So we paid all the bills and we kept the 3rd dog. So my wife introduced me to an organization called Dogs Deserve Better, which she joined in her research of what can she do as part of an advocate for dogs. And then her and I joined an adoption center that's pretty much on the West Virginia border, right over here. Again, about 45 minutes away. So there are places that we started finding ourselves going, how can we help this situation? We can't change it. How can we become part of this? My wife is much more of a dog lover than I am. But man, her passion makes me want to do more. So we have this situation where, and I want to get to this, our dogs were all pit bulls. Every one of our dogs are pit bulls. And this is a image of the Little Rascals. You guys have heard of them. They're like one of the most popular gang group of kids, right? In 30s, 40s TV, 50s TV. Well, they had a pit bull running around with them. And the idea of that pit bull was, pit bulls were nanny dogs. You guys know what a nanny is? Someone that takes care of kids. Pit bulls are nanny dogs. They were bred to take care of kids. So the thing is, what happened between the time of when pit bulls were taking care of kids, and now people are scared to put their kids around pit bulls? Have pit bulls changed? I don't know. So there's this effect called the placebo effect, and I started doing some research, and I read a book called The Pit Bull Placebo. The placebo effect is kind of like I spread a rumor and you start believing it, and then your children start believing it, and then we start making propaganda to kind of say, hey, don't do that or do this. And it just starts growing out of control. Well, this happened, this placebo effect. So back in like the 50s and 60s, you know what everybody was afraid of then? Back in this day? The Little Rascal Day?
German Shepherds?
No, but that was one of them back, way far back.
Rottweilers?
Bloodhounds. Ooh, sit on a porch. The bloodhound, right? I would go up to any bloodhound, pulling its ears, right? They were scared of bloodhounds. And then after that, the last one before pit bulls, Dobermans. Dobermans back in the 80s, as little as the 80s. That's what the fear was Dobermans. So why did we shift from this dog to this dog to this dog? Well, guess what? If I'm done, if the whole idea of Dobermans being a scary thing has run its course and then people have caught on that they're not bad dogs, we got to move on. I'm a politician now. Hey, guess what? We got to advocate against pit bulls. It gives me a stance. And so media starts filling this whole rumor of pit bulls are bad. Politicians start running on this. Cops and cops start putting down pit bulls to help their neighborhood. And you got this whole thing where society's bought into the idea that pit bulls are bad dogs. And I keep looking at this going, this is all wrong. Humane shelters, your humane shelters, right? They put them down. They give them a week inside the shelter. Like nobody claimed it. Done. Could be your neighbor's dog. Neighbor didn't claim it. Done. Because it's a pit bull. I wouldn't do that with every dog. Pit bulls. So back in, there was a law passed in Leesburg around 2014 that finally allowed for pit bulls to be adopted out. They weren't allowed forever, 20 years. Pit bulls were not allowed to be adopted in your town. And people had bought into this experience of pit bulls are bad. So what is it that makes this whole frenzy of dogs be such a thing that we buy into it? You know, you look.
Because they see stuff like dog fighting and stuff, and they have pit bulls.
Right? So dog fighting. Why aren't people buying bloodhounds and Dobermans anymore? They were.
Because they're not as aggressive, I guess.
Well, let's talk about that, because he's exactly right in a sense. The breed of dog, okay, the doctor came up and started studying this too, back in the early 2000s. The breed of dog equaled the degree of dangerousness, okay? Breed of dog and degree of dangerousness. So, came up with a chart. And if you look on the left-hand side, you have the aggressive dog. The most aggressive dog, believe it or not, is the Dachshund. The next one is a Chihuahua. And after that, it keeps going down the list. Let's go down until we find the American Pit Bull. It is one of the least aggressive dogs. You can see that the lab is right underneath it. Anybody's met a lab, they're just like, duh. And pit bulls aren't much different, right? But how many reports of dog biting do you hear from Chihuahuas?
A lot.
Tons. From your friends and your neighbors and your family, but they don't get reported to the Humane Society. They don't get reported outside of that. And if you think about it, if a Chihuahua bit you, what would you do to the Chihuahua?
Oh my God.
You just kick it out of the way, like, okay, right? If a Chihuahua bit a kid, it would, the kid would cry, but is it worth reporting? Probably not. The kid's not hurt very much. I know it's probably like a knee scrape. But if a pit bull bites a kid, or a pit bull bites you, the danger of that bite goes way up. And this is the difference. So this is where our placebo effect falls right in line. You got one of the least aggressive dogs having one of the most vicious bites. So why not feed that frenzy? You can. And this is why they're used in dog fighting. Because they have a malicious bite. But don't think that Dobermans aren't used anymore. They are. But look where a Doberman falls on the line of everything. Third most aggressive. Second biggest bite. That's a dangerous dog. So when you see a Doberman, look at the owner and determine whether or not you want to pet this dog. I'm not saying dogs are bad. Dogs are good. Just like you guys are good starting out of the womb. Everybody's good starting out of the womb. Society changes us. Society will change the dog. So, what are we going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? What am my wife going to do about it? Well, we became advocates. And what we did is we do things like this. We go on a march with our dogs. This was called the 1 Million Pit Bull March, where we wanted 1 million pit bulls to be in DC. So we took our dog to DC and we marched, just one of them. We marched our dog with a bunch of other people trying to get 1 million pit bulls to show they're not aggressive. And there were no dog fights. Most aggressive dog, there were no dog fights. So we've also done a thing over at our animal shelter called Pedal for Pooches, where we do fundraisers. So the idea is we go on a 20 to 30 to 40 mile bike ride, depending on how in shape you are, and you raise money for the dog shelter. These are things that we have found that we can do for our community. And again, I'm not changing the world. So another thing that we did inside of our town is we helped start, with a group of other people, a dog festival. And at this time we have about 50 vendors that come to our town and they sell things, and we do a dog show, and a vet comes and shows off all these like rare breeds of dogs. There's a sheep herding thing with dogs, like a show. We helped start that. We also helped start getting dogs into restaurants. So you can bring, in Shepherdstown, you can bring your dog into a restaurant and have it eat with you. We also, every Thanksgiving and Easter, we take our dogs down to the parade. We dress them up. So what are we doing here? One thing we're simple. What's that?
So you're showing love to dogs?
Yeah, we're showing love for the pit bull mix. We're saying, hey, look at this pit bull. I don't care what you're reading on the internet. Pit bulls are okay. Right? So my wife has taken it on to a whole nother level. She's changed laws. And she's done it under the umbrella of dogs deserve better. So what she's done is had in our couple counties over there in West Virginia, not Virginia, because that would be a whole other thing, she has gotten the tethering. Tethering is like when you chain a dog up to a tree, or you chain the dog up to a doghouse, or you put it on a little lead and it can run up and down. You guys may have seen any of these things, right, over your time. She's gotten it down to you cannot tether your dog for more than 8 hours a day. That wasn't her goal. Her goal is no tethering at all. But she got it down to 8 hours a day from nothing. That's huge in terms of counties. Now people can get arrested and huge fines if somebody sits out there and says, I've seen that dog tethered more than 8 hours. Now it comes down to, I'm going to record it and catch you. So it comes to a process, but you can catch people doing this. Another thing she did is, in terms of crate size, you can't put a big dog into a small crate. People do this. You have to have a certain size requirement. Crate for a certain size dog. Larger dogs get larger crates. It makes sense, right? So you crate your dog, you gotta put it in an appropriate space. In Shepherdstown, the town I live in, she got the law passed that there's no tethering at all. So that one, she won. This is huge. Courthouse. I don't have it in me to do all the research. She does. And like I said, in Leesburg, and this wasn't her, but in Leesburg in 2014, there was your own brothers and sisters were getting at laws changed, and one of them was you're now allowed to adopt a pit bull around here. In 2012, 2011, do you guys know who Michael Vick is?
Yeah, quarterback.
Quarterback. NFL quarterback. Well, prior to this, Michael Vick got convicted for a dogfighting ring. And in 2011, 2012, a founder of Dogs Deserve Better went and bought Michael Vick's house that he had to get rid of because he was now in jail. And this is Michael Vick's home. So you got it's called Good News Rehab Center, and this says DDB for Dogs Deserve Better. We went down there back in 2011, 2012 because we were going to give donations, and I went down there to help build a fence because it was just new to them. So they needed a lot of stuff to get up and running. But the whole idea was to take Michael Vick's prize fighting area and turn it into something good for dogs.
They're fighting in like the back, right?
Yeah, we get to that. It's good idea. So this is the house. You can see his boats and all his seized property. But the fighting area, and I know it's kind of hard to see, is back here in a bunch of sheds, and then way back is where they kept the dogs in a huge field. And to kind of give you the idea, like when I started walking through this area, this is what it changed me as a man. And it would have changed any of you as a human being. So I walked into this place, and there were a couple sheds. I saw one shed that was simply for raping dogs. And I know I've just said that right. Where they would take a female dog and tie her up so that she could be raped by another dog in order just to have more pit bulls. So they're starting this thing. There in the backyard, they would take the axles of cars, put them down in the ground vertically, and that's where you would chain the dog up so it couldn't pull. They have a lot of pull. It ain't gonna pull that out of the ground. And what they would do is put the dogs so their chains would go about this far apart from each other. And the idea was to make this dog as aggressive as possible, but never give it nurturing. So dogs by nature are pack animals. They would curl up to each other if they could and stay warm and be really good to each other. Nope, not when you can only get so far from each other. It's like, I need to kill you. So this is all built on aggression. There was the fighting chamber. There was the chamber where the doctor put down dogs. There was a barrel full of water where the losing dog gets drowned. There was the tree with the rope for the dog to get hung if it lost. The neighbor next door had a huge pack of beagles with their teeth pulled. Still had them when we went there. Probably still has them. Teeth pulled. The reason they were using these dogs is they were called bait dogs. And the whole idea of the bait dog, this was all new to me, right? I'm just walking in here going, oh, I can't stand this. The bait dog was simply to get the pit bull going for the fight. So what they would do is take this bait dog without teeth, try to have it attack the pit bull. Of course, the pit bull would maim it pretty good because it had teeth. And then the pit bull was ready to fight. Throw a little adrenaline in that pit bull and let's go. And you're either going to win or you're going to lose. So this is the fighting ring. In here. I'm hearing from the founder of this place. So I read this book, and it's called The Lost Dogs. And The Lost Dogs was all about the experience of the seizure, the seizing of this place, the FBI seizing, and these dogs that made it out of there. And where are they now? But also the bad of it. And in talking to the founder of Dogs Deserve Better, I found out that the whole community, that whole county that place is in, Southern Virginia, they hate her. They hate the whole fact that she's there. And they have tried, lawyers are trying to run her out of town, the mayor's trying to run her out of town, the police are trying to run her out of town. They're scaring her. Everybody that drives by, when we were there, everybody drives by, they're honking their horns, firing guns. It's unlawful down there. You know why they're trying to scare her? Because they're part of it. They used to dogfight. That was a great business. Michael Vick being there, star quarterback in this non-known area of Virginia, bring it in. Bring it in. You're my business. I need to bet. I need to make my extra money.
You said this is in Virginia?
Yeah.
Where?
Southern Virginia. So, looking at this data, what happened? Well, the Michael Vick conviction was no sudden. And all of a sudden, people wanted to buy pit bulls when they had. They knew this was the fighting dog. And this is where you see it in the inner cities. That's why you've seen the pit bull being this branded, this awful thing. This helped. But then after his conviction, the humane societies started stepping up. Mr. Fournier started stepping up. A little later, but I started stepping up. But I'm right in this realm. And I started saying pit bulls aren't bad. And you're seeing that more and more. Have you not heard enough good stories about pit bulls yet? I'm sure you've heard, for every bad story now, you've probably heard a good story. And I'm telling you some good stories. My pit bulls, they love to be in a parade. They love to get dressed up. They love to meet people. They lick you to death. And they sit on you like they're a small dog. So, between 2009 and 2013, in Leesburg, there were 71 reported bites of pit bulls. And just over 1,000 pit bulls recorded living in the area. And between those same dates, there was about 150 to 175 reported incidences of lab bites and German Shepherd bites. But there's about 10,000 recorded German Shepherds and labs. So what's that saying? I know I just threw stats at you. What it's saying is, hey, if a pit bull bites, it bites hard Yeah, and I'm going to report it. A lab doesn't have a very strong bite. Although it bit you, I'm still not going to have to report that. And so, because it's a pit bull, I'm going to have to report it. And people do. If you bit me and your dog's a pit bull, I've already, in my head, because of media, labeled it as aggressive. And so all of a sudden, I'm going to call the Humane Society. And you have a couple chances. If your dog, it automatically, by default, has to get taken away from your possession for 3 days in a strange area. Your dog has been with you since birth, and you're like, how can my dog live without me? It's a child to me and my family. And so this happens. And so now your dog's with all these other dogs in this place, scared out of its mind. It's probably going to be more aggressive. Imagine you in a different environment. So this is how it's gone from being a nanny dog because of the placebo effect to what we know today. And I want to show you that this is my crew. These are my people. Here's my daughter. She's playing princess, and she has to, and you can't see this one too well, she has to dress up the dogs. The day she was born, we brought her home and threw her in the dogs' faces, the vicious pit bulls, with the vicious bite. And you know what they did? They're like, whoa, don't lick her that hard, right? That was it. And they've been by her side ever since. And she crawls on them, she pulls on them. And we're like, don't pull on her ears. But, we're teaching her to be a good person. But at the same time, our dogs, they were easy. We didn't have to train them how to take care of a kid at all. This is every night. She kisses all 4 dogs goodnight. Give the dogs a goodnight kiss. She goes around. 1. Or she calls them by name. 2, Emma, Skylar. It's cute. And I have it on video. I wish I could have brought it. So I want you guys to say, what is your passion? What's my passion? You probably know now, right? A little bit. For this time, hone in on one thing. You may have 2 or 3 passions. I'm sure you don't have much more than that. It would be hard to sustain that many passions. But don't go trying to change the world, all right? I'm asking you, simply change you. If you have a passion, be passionate about it. Hold your ground. Recycling is your passion. Be grounded about recycling. And then, guess what? Teach your little sister to be passionate. And teach your parents. And this small community. And then all of a sudden, teach your friends to be passionate. And then teach your environment. Teach your coworkers or your school. But don't go trying to change the world. Because once you have this community that you love to live in, your bubble of fun that you've made your own, and people respect your passion and have stood by you for it, they're going to go out with their circles. And your circles are going to grow. And all of a sudden, you are going to change the world through your one little passion. Because it's awesome. Whatever it is, it's awesome. That's it.
Good job.
Yeah. So I got, a couple things I had to grab from the internet. You saw some original pictures. I have tons of pictures of the Michael Vick thing. Overhead, I didn't have a drone. But I have tons of pictures of that incident. But it changed me. That's the book, The Pitbull Placebo, that I read. And then that's the book, The Lost Dog, that I read. So both of them are pretty cool. They're pretty riveting to your thoughts about pit bulls in general. But notice I'm not focused on every dog. I can't be. I don't have that energy. And I'm not focused on 50 other passions. And in fact, this is my wife's main passion. And I'm not even chasing my passion.
Well, what's your passion?
My passion is modern slavery.
Oh.
Yeah. I would like to fix modern slavery. I would like to just rip some people up.
What do you mean modern slavery, like prostitution?
That's part of
Human
it.
trafficking,
Human
child
trafficking.
marriages, there's also sweatshops.
Yeah, there's a lot of facets to it. I just gave you like I would like to fix dog fighting. I would like to fix dog abuse. Yeah, but yeah, I would have to hone in on one of many things that I could. So let's take like a 2-minute break. I know I just did a presentation for you, but we're gonna discuss in the second part how you guys can do this well forever. I'm not asking you guys to do the perfect presentation right out of the bat this next 2 weeks or a week and a half. What I'm asking you to do is think about what you're going to learn today, how it's going to change maybe your view on presenting for your life and possibly give you a job and a raise and an executive job and more money. That's the thought process I'm here for. So let's take a couple-minute break, get on your phone, do whatever you need to do, just relax, go back.
Can I go pee?
Go pee.